we explore the indirect influence of diet and liquid intake on the vagus nerve and vagal tone, all of which have an influence on our body's autonomic nervous system, internal balance and homeostasis, regulating inflammation and fostering overall physiological resilience. Firstly, what is the vagus nerve? The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body, runs from the brain to the large intestine with both motor and sensory functions. It is also called the 10th cranial nerve, CNX, and is one of the 12 cranial nerves, but is unique in several ways. The vagus nerve is often referred to as the wandering nerve. It extends throughout the body, linking the brain with the heart, lungs, and digestive tract. Secondly, vagal tone refers to the activity of the vagus nerve, particularly in relation to the heart and its influence on the autonomic nervous system. Heart rate, digestion, and emotional responses are indicators of vagal tone. In healthy individuals, higher vagal tone is associated with better physical and mental well-being, as it may indicate a more resilient and adaptable autonomic nervous system. Similarly, Bright et al. 2018 state that the most important function of the vagus nerve is afferent, bringing information of the inner organs, such as gut, liver, heart, and lungs to the brain. This suggests that the inner organs are major sources of sensory information to the brain. The gut as the largest surface toward the outer world, and might therefore be a particularly important sensory organ. This suggests that the gut constantly interacts with the external environment through the food we consume, the microbiota it harbors, and the various substances it encounters. As a major sensory organ, the gut can provide the brain with vital information about the body's internal state and external conditions. This connection emphasizes the importance of gut integrity and its influence on not only physical well-being, but also mental and energy vitality. Thus, the gut's ability to gather and relay sensory information makes it a crucial component in how we experience and respond to the world around us. Elaborating on the term afferent, it refers to sensory pathways that carry nerve impulses from sensory organs or receptors to the central nervous system, CNS. In other words, it describes the flow of signals that inform the brain about external stimuli, enabling perception and response to the environment. The vagus nerve plays a crucial role in the intricate system of internal communication, connecting the enteric nervous system and afferent nerve endings linked to the gut. Our gut behavior is influenced by what we eat and drink on a day-to-day basis. Holistically, the vagus nerve has a synchronized relationship with several key systems within the body, and it is crucial in keeping balance and harmony within our physiology. Stimulation of the vagus nerve through natural foods, as well as warm foods and drinking warm water, are suggested to help encourage vagal activity, as well as to reset after a stress response. Warm foods and liquids may influence transient vasodilation, the widening of blood vessels, allowing more blood to flow through them, while cold ones may induce vasoconstriction, narrowing of blood vessels, which decreases blood flow and can increase blood pressure, though individual responses can vary due to climatic variations and individual health status. Vasodilation may influence increased blood flow to muscles and organs, lower blood pressure, help cool the body through skin exposure, enhance nutrient delivery to tissues, and aid tissue repair by supplying oxygen and immune cells. So for instance, a warm super soup rich in natural nutrients as an addition to a diet may positively contribute in all the above. The vagus nerve runs parallel to the esophagus, influences digestion, and interacts with the gut, and holistic suggests that its activity may potentially be affected by food temperatures. However, it's important to note that this is one possibility and individual physiology and health status variables apply. Another positive influence on vagal activity. Reputable sources recognize the role of breathing techniques, such as meditation and biobreathing, in supporting autonomic nervous system balance, as well as bettering the vagal tone. We'll explore this more towards the end of this video. From a holistic point of view, a diet and hydration have a close relationship to the gut and the vagus nerve through afferent nerve endings with the gut. Therefore, types of diets, foods, and liquids indirectly influence vagus nerve activity. And the vagus nerve communicates with several key organs. Ayurvedically, the Vata dosha is one of key doshas associated with the vagus nerve, which means the air and space element. Similarly, the vagus nerve is essential for the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes a state of rest and relaxation, counterbalancing the sympathetic nervous system, which prepares the body for fight or flight responses. The parasympathetic nervous system is one of the main components of the autonomic nervous system and contributes to the wider nervous system at large. Today, reputable sources suggest that the vagus nerve connects our brain to almost every organ in our body, influencing everything from the heart rate to mood. For example, the vagus nerve extends beyond the head and neck, including organs in the thorax and abdomen, influencing functions such as heart rate, gastrointestinal motility, and respiratory rate as part of a wider communication network. It stands out due to its extensive reach and significant role in regulating various bodily functions beyond the cranial and cervical regions. Referring back to Bright et al. 2018, it establishes one of the connections between the brain and the gastrointestinal tract and sends information about the state of the inner organs to the brain via afferent fibers. Subsequently, the parasympathetic nervous system helps widen blood vessels, while the sympathetic nervous system causes them to constrict. Together, they work in harmony to maintain the nervous system's balance and ensure optimal functioning. When the sympathetic nervous system is activated during stress, the parasympathetic system plays a critical role in restoring balance, allowing the body to recover and regain homeostasis. However, chronic stress can lead to frequent activation of the sympathetic nervous system. Holistically, to support nervous system balance, incorporating recovery techniques such as body-centric diet, clean hydration from pure water, and meditative or other types of biobreathing can make a substantial difference. Bright et al. 2018 also suggests that it is estimated that the enteric nervous system, ENS, contains about 100 to 500 million neurons. This is the largest accumulation of nerve cells in the human body. Since the ENS is similar to the brain regarding structure, function, and chemical coding, it has been described as the second brain, or the brain within the gut. This brain-gut axis includes the brain, the spinal cord, the autonomic nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic, and ENS, and the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal HPA axis. The vagal efferents send the signals down from brain to gut through efferent fibers, which account for 10 to 20% of all fibers, and the vagal afferents up from the intestinal wall to the brain, accounting for 80 to 90% of all fibers. The latter is an indicator of the level of influence the gastrointestinal system has on the brain. Let's consider an example of the potential indirect effect on vagal activity by particular foods. A high intake of refined sugars can disrupt the balance of the enteric nervous system, ENS, and reduce vagal tone, affecting gut microbiota balance and increase intestinal permeability, resulting in systemic inflammation. When inflammation increases, it may negatively affect vagal tone, which may have consequences on several key areas such as digestion. Note that this is different from regenerative inflammation. The vagus nerve links to all of these and plays a key role in the parasympathetic nervous activity. This intricate phenomenon is again recognized in holistic and ancient sciences through the role of holistic diets, foods, and liquids, the focus on tailored micronutrients, and anti-stress or recovery techniques, such as the alternate nostril breathing practices. Here is another example of the vagus nerve and inflammatory response relationship. After intense physical training, the body undergoes various physiological changes, including an increase in inflammatory markers as part of the recovery process. The vagus nerve, through its influence on the parasympathetic nervous system, can help modulate this inflammatory response. Activation of the vagus nerve has been associated with the release of anti-inflammatory signals, which can aid in recovery. Lastly, here are some key factors that may significantly influence vagal tone for healthy individuals. 1. Gut integrity is intricately linked to the vagus nerve. A balanced diet rich in natural nutritional elements, ideally from real food nutrients, organics, and whole foods, support its function and generally are a plus towards optimized well-being. Also, herbal teas and whole plant herbs are used for their nervous system advantages in holistics, such as ashwagandha, tulsi holy basil, ginger, turmeric, etc. In terms of food temperature, both warm and cold can have parasympathetic effects, but warm foods and drinks tend to create a more direct and immediate relaxation response, while cold foods and drinks can initiate a sequence that ultimately leads to vagal activation and relaxation as the body stabilizes, which may be useful in some circumstances. Whereas room temperature or warm foods are holistically used for daily nutrition. 2. Breathing practices, such as deep diaphragmatic breathing, can enhance vagal tone. These practices activate the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting relaxation and reducing stress. Additionally, the A&B alternate nostril breathing practice, as suggested in our last video, A&B can shift the balance of the nervous system from sympathetic, fight or flight, to parasympathetic, relaxation. There are several reputable sources that recognize the beneficial impact of these practices. 3. Singing or humming. The vibrations from vocalizing can stimulate the vagus nerve. This is a common meditation in Eastern sciences, which involves sound mantras and breath relating to natural sounds. Promoting balance does not equate to inactivity. Rather, it embraces the dynamic equilibrium of homeostasis that empowers to fully engage in both active and restorative physiological experience. Equilibrium is different from overstimulation and understimulation, and as such efforts can be made towards this optimal state of physiology. Vagus activity is connected to problem-solving, creativity, and other higher brain functions. Primarily, the vagus nerve contributes to whole body functions, as it regulates and coordinates the functions of vital organs, maintaining homeostasis and ensuring that each part can respond effectively to changes and challenges. As can be seen, the holistic relationship between what we consume and the gut is profound and far-reaching, subject to individual suitability and individual health status.